And welcome back to Q30 Sports. I'm Zach Nunez, joined by Matt Donahue, former Quinnipiac basketball player and current host of the Matt Donahue podcast. Matt, first thing I want to ask you is, you played here for Quinnipiac your freshman year, but you decided to hang up the shoes after your first year here. Walk me through that process. What was it like figuring out that you wanted to leave the game you loved behind?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a tough decision. I think my first year here was, I got recruited by a different coach, similarly in Coach Moore, who was let go before I even got here. And when I got here, my situation with the school was a little bit crazy. I was given a scholarship not through the basketball team. I was given a scholarship through the business program at Quinnipiac. And after my freshman year, I looked at my grades and they were starting to suffer just the amount of time that I was putting into basketball. It was close to like 9 hours a day, and I never really had aspirations to play professionally after college, so I think that was a big reason why I decided to walk away after my freshman year.
So you mentioned the business program. How did you manage to get from business to the sports journalism master's? What clicked there?
Yeah, so back in my high school days, me and my roommate were forced to, take a class, an elective, and our options were, like stage management or something like that, or hosting a radio show. And we decided to go host a radio show and just, get on the mic and talk about sports. And that really sparked my interest for sports journalism and particularly sports, the radio and podcasting. And then when I was done playing basketball, I decided to rehash the sports love, and specifically for New England sports, and that kind of propelled me to want to get into the sports journalism program here. There was an opportunity when I graduated from the business to hop on over to get my master's in sports journalism. So that's kind of the whole how it went from business to sports journalism.
Right, and keeping with that theory of evolution, right? You followed in the line of the footsteps of great athletes like J.J. Redick and Chris Long by starting your own podcast, right? The Matt Donahue podcast. How did that idea come about, and how do you think it's evolved over your time, especially here in the program?
Yeah, so when I originally started the podcast, I did it with the person I did it with back in my prep school days, but he was still playing college basketball at the time, so I knew he wasn't going to be able to be full-time on the podcast. And then, the podcast really took form when we bumped into Patriots coach at the time, and, we asked him if he wanted to be on our podcast, and he agreed, and that kind of greenlit the evolution of the Matt Donahue podcast in terms of, growing it from just being our friends listening to, kind of the broader New England area specifically.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you guys next week on QNN Sports. Thank you for watching.